Going into a new season, every team has pressure on them to perform. Every team wants to win, but there's always a few teams that have a little bit more pressure on them than other teams in the league for various reasons. So we're just going to go over a short list of 5 teams, and we think in the NHL that have the most pressure on them to win this year. Starting with number one, I think you could probably make them number one every year is the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know, with the roster they've assembled, the core four, the amount of money they're pouring into that offensive group, they have to win, and they haven't won.
This seems like a make or break year for this team.
I mean, every year's a make or break.
Yeah,
year for
but
them.
like this could be the last year without the core four, and on top of it, the Toronto media slams them. Like if they don't win the cup, the Toronto media, bang, bang, just shot after shot after shot. And when you have a 60-goal scorer like Austin Matthews, 100-point guys like Martiner and Nylander, and then so John Tavares too on your second line is going to give you 65 points a season. Like you have to do something.
The thing about Toronto is they're always a great regular season team. They always fall apart in the playoffs.
That's the problem. Like, can you perform when it matters in a 7-game series? They can't.
Because I don't care if you have like 115 points, 110 points every year, and you're like a lock for the playoffs. If you lose in the first round of a year, it does not matter.
You had Chris Tanev on a horrible 6-year contract.
I mean,
think they
do what you got to do.
They needed to now. They're in win now mode.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you have Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and Nylander. You're a win now with those players.
I think this is the best shot for the Leafs to make a run. I mean, we say that like every year.
If they don't do well this year, Brendan Shanahan's gone.
They got to beat Boston or Florida.
I don't know if they can do that.
They can't.
I think they could beat Boston in the best of 7. I don't think they could beat Florida.
I think the one chance for Toronto to win, get out of the first round, is either get the first seed in the Atlantic and hope Boston or Florida.
Although I think that their best path to the second round is to win the division.
They have to, because Florida and Boston is going to finish 2 and 3, have them face each other, get the first seed in the Atlantic, play a wild card team. If you can get a Detroit to sneak in or somehow Washington sneaks in,
I think I see them like Tampa, being a wild card team as well. I think Toronto would beat Tampa in the best of 7. But moving on to our next team, this one I think is fairly obvious too, the Edmonton Oilers. Stanley Cup runners-up last year, lost by 1 game in Game 7. Amazing Stanley Cup final, but now, there's been talk for years, can Connor McDavid get this team to the Stanley Cup final? Can this group get to the Stanley Cup final? Yes, they can. Now, can they win a cup? You saw how close they got last year, and I think there's going to be even more pressure on them to get back there and win the cup this year because they have the team to do it.
I mean, you add Skinner, you add Arvidsson, you add more offensive firepower, so they have to get below the cap, the max cap, because they're over right now. You want to know what's funny is that I think they're $7 million over the cap, and you want to know where those $7 million went? To Skinner and Arvidsson. Moving on to our number 3 team, the Buffalo Sabres. You bring in Lindy Ruff, and head coach. He used to coach for the Sabres for years. And on top of it, you have the 13-year drought hanging over you. Just get the monkey off your back. Get it.
If they don't make the playoffs this year, a lot of people are going to get fired. It's tough. I mean, they just keep losing every year. They're losing fans. The fans will come back if they start to win.
Yeah.
It's just hard to convince people to go and pay and support a product like that on the ice, especially they haven't won anything in over 13 years. I think bringing back Lindy Ruff is kind of a desperation move, and Kevin Adams' back's against the wall. You can tell from the trades that he's made.
Teams know that if he doesn't make the playoffs, he's out, so they're trying to get more.
They're taking advantage of him.
It's working.
They're taking. Edmonton got a top prospect for a third-line center.
And you get a trade a second-round pick for a fourth-liner. Number 4, we have the New York Rangers.
Yeah.
Coming off the President's Trophy season. Didn't do jack shit in the offseason.
They have no money to spend.
You have to somehow get Shesterkin under whatever contract he wants.
They got to pay Igor,
at some point going into the last year of his deal.
And they got Lafreniere, too. They got to extend him.
So you have some money that you're going to have to spend. Lafreniere goes for another 60 points this season, 65 points.
He's getting like $7 million.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Bringing both of those guys back, and obviously Shiesty will be priority. But
Shesterkin gets whatever. I mean, Lafreniere is going to be an RFA.
Yeah.
But I think the way this team is built, the last couple of years, I feel like they made it to the conference final last year, but they kind of got shell-shocked by the Panthers. And it's not that the Panthers are that much better than them. It's just the stars for the Rangers kind of just disappeared. I thought Shesterkin played very well. But outside of that, like Kreider, Panarin, Zibanejad, they were Adam Fox. I know Fox has had a pretty bad injury, but they were no-shows for the conference final, and that can't happen.
They need to step up, and it seemed like whenever one player would step up, the other were existent, and then the next night one might step up and the rest were like, you never got that consistency that you're looking for, and that's ultimately why they fell short. Number 5, our last team, the Dallas Stars. a team that is somehow one of the youngest teams in the league, and they've been this good since 2020. You have so much young talent, and coming off of back-to-back Western Conference Finals appearances, losing both of them, you need to get over the hump. I think they're in a better spot than the Rangers, specifically because of their cap and their young players, and they've built so much youth, and their defense is, in my opinion, is better. You lose Chris Tanev, but he was a rental. However, as long as you have Jake Ottinger and you have Wyatt Johnson and all these other players, like, you're going to be fine.
But to me, Ottinger has to put a full season together. He's not consistent. Like, he'll have spans where he looks like an elite goalie, and then other spans where you're pulling him. He hasn't really been able to put it all together into one complete season. Even in the playoffs last year, he could have spans where he looked awesome and spans where he was horrible.
Exactly.
I mean, especially in the conference final against Edmonton. I mean, going to that series, I think everyone thought the Stars were going to steamroll the Oilers. And Edmonton turned the tape. I think, what did they go up 2-0 to start the series,
2-1.
Dallas? And then Edmonton won 3 games in a row. And they weren't particularly close.
And Edmonton was down big in game 4 too, and they came back, won, and didn't look back.
Yeah, Dallas, they have a really nice, really built roster, but they need to get over that hump. And the tough Western Conference. I don't know if they can do that.
Thank you guys for staying till the end. If you enjoyed it, we appreciate if you press the subscribe button and notification bell. And make sure to join our Discord where we talk hockey and other sports all day long. And follow our Instagram for more exclusive content. We'll see you guys in our next video.